Awesome. All right. So, guys, we're going to be talking about live demonstrations, live selling, all that kind of good stuff is what I am talking to you about tonight. So, wherever it is that you like to do your live demonstrations, your live selling, whether it is on TikTok, Facebook, Insta, doesn't matter. Or if you just like to make videos and to post, right? So, whether you turn those videos into reels or any of that type of stuff, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. So I'm going to go over a couple little tips and then a couple little ideas. I'm going to show you a couple examples of a quick demonstration because the name of the game is fast, okay? Because you got to catch them, right? And there's a lot of distractions. If somebody's watching you remotely on Zoom or on a video or on social media or whatever, you have to catch them and you have to hold on to them. Okay. So if you are going on and on and on about features and benefits of one specific product, you're going to, you might lose them. So you want to try and kind of keep it fast, give them lots of tips, ideas, things that they can use with or without the products. Okay. So the first thing I want to talk about is your background, right? Your background. So right now I'm in my office, so I'm not down where all of my display is and stuff like that. You don't have to have a massive display. You can have, and so before I started going live on TikTok, when I would go live in home parties and stuff, I wouldn't always do a cooking demo. Sometimes I would just do product demonstrations. And when I did, I would be here in my office and I literally would take a TV tray, right? Those little like pop-up TV tray tables, and I would put it right here beside me and I'd angle my camera like this. And then I would just pick up products right here off of I mean, you know how big a TV tray table is. It's not very big. So whatever I could fit on there and I pick it up and I would just talk about it right here in front of my camera. So it does not have to be anything big, grand, or anything like that. So don't ever be intimidated when you see somebody going live and they have shelves and shelves of product behind them. It does not have to be all of that. Okay. So you can still go live and do all that type of stuff and be able to, sorry, I'm going to admit some people. I see them hanging out in the waiting room and it stresses me out. So I was going to admit some people real quick. All right. So some things that you can do when you're live, right, is one thing is to have your product knowledge. And one of the best ways to get product knowledge is to be on Rally, right? So to be on Rally. So I cannot even begin to tell you how many people are like, how do you know all of this stuff? And I'm like, well, my business leader makes me attend. No. No,
Funny.
but seriously though, all of the meetings, all of the demonstrations, all of that stuff, right? You listen and you hear. You know how many times we have all heard bowl demonstrations, but I still pick up something new. I still pick up a new word choice, and I'm like, "Ooh, I like how she said that. I like how she explained this," and I'm able to
That's
pull
it.
that and add that to my demonstration because it might hit somebody a little bit differently, right? So it's so important to listen to product demonstrations, to be on Rally as much as you can, whether you're here live, which is awesome when you can be. If you can't, go back and listen to the replays, right? Go back and watch the little video clips that they take off. Go to our YouTube channel and binge watch, right? So instead of watching Netflix tomorrow night for 20 minutes, just take 20 minutes and watch some videos on our YouTube channel. It will pay off. Okay. So watch that. You learn so much. Yes, I love it. I saw somebody come in the chat say, I learned so much. Yes, absolutely. Yes. So it pays off. And I have some of my business besties, right, that are leaders in the business. And they're just like, every time I watch you, Ellen, I learned something else. And I'm always blown away that I didn't know that. And I'm just like, I'm kind of blown away too, because I don't know how you don't know. Right. So you want to have that product knowledge. So great places to find product knowledge besides Rally, of course, okay, is your website, your personal shopping website. Go to look at products, and there is so much information. They even have tips right there. Click on a product and look at it, and there will be tips. There will be all that kind of stuff on so many of those things. Another great place is our back office. If you go in through the Top Now section and then go to product information and knowledge, oh my gosh, there's so much stuff there, guys. It's crazy. I went under the tab that was, sorry, I just pulled it up. What was it called? It was, let me see if I can backtrack. I went to product training and recipes, and then I went to training and fun facts. and there was microwave knowledge and product safety. And there was a huge slideshow of all this microwave information, which is amazing, right? And you take a couple of those little tips. So from that slideshow, I was looking through and it has a slide that talks about how to ripen avocados, how to soften brown sugar, how to soften butter in the microwave, extract more citrus juice from your citrus, blanching almonds, right? These can all be turned into little snippet and tips that you can either make a static post for social media, or you can make a little video reel and use that on your social media, right? So fantastic. And you can incorporate them into your live selling as well. All right. So that's really great stuff to do. Engagement, right? So you've heard people say, drop a 1 in the chat if you had a wonderful day or whatever, right? That's engagement, guys. So you can go to whatever your AI of choice is and ask for engagement ideas, and it'll peel off a ton of lists. So I have a cheat sheet with me at all times when I go live. So if I do want to do that on a live, I don't do it all the time because I don't want all my lives to be like, oh, there she goes again. She's asking if I like coffee or tea. I don't want it to always be the same, guys. So, and if I just kind of want to throw something out there, I'll be like, so are you a salty or sweet person? Put it in the chat. And I'll be like, guess what I am, right? So can you guess what I am? Am I a morning or am I a nighttime person? You know, and it's interesting to see what they say, and we all kind of laugh about it. And I don't do that all the time. I don't even do it on every single live, but every now and again, I just kind of throw it in there just to kind of get a little bit of chat going. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I still get crickets, right? So don't beat yourself up. If you try that and it doesn't work, it doesn't mean you did it wrong, and it doesn't mean it will never work. It just means the right people weren't in there. And maybe the right people were in there, but they were driving and they couldn't put it in the chat. So don't ever take any of that type of stuff personally, because it literally has nothing to do with you. Okay. So don't worry about any of that type of stuff. All right. So when it comes to your tips and product knowledge and stuff on your lives or demos or whatever, so I brought up 3 products that I have a tendency to give tips and ideas and things like that around, and I'm going to give you examples of them. Okay. And I gave this story to the directors on our director call the other day, and I said, I got super frustrated, and I think it was before kids, and I went to a home party. I'm not going to name names, but I went to a home party, and the home party person did this wonderful recipe. And I was like, oh my gosh, I so want to make this recipe. It was delicious. And she's like, and you're all going to go home with the recipe today. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that's so amazing. And then, but she framed it up like I needed to buy all of those products in order to make the recipe. Now, I wasn't a very experienced cook at the time. I hadn't, I was kind of new to this whole like being a wife thing and cooking in the kitchen and like even cooking in general, right? And so I was like, I really thought I need to buy $200 of the stuff, and I didn't walk in that door with $200 budget. So I left there super frustrated and just kind of deflated, right? Because I was like, I really wanted to experience this, but so I never wanted to be that person at a home party, right? I never wanted to be that person that was like, this is our Fridge Smart, and it's going to make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. And the only way that your fruits and vegetables are ever going to last longer than a couple days is if you buy this, right? I never wanted to be that person and have people be like, oh my gosh, I need that so much in my life, but I don't have that money to buy that right now. And then they leave feeling frustrated and kind of annoyed with me, right? So, because I sold them on this thing and now they can't afford it, right? And yes, I can date a party with them and all that stuff, but I don't want them to feel frustrated, right? So I always try to give tips that I say, now, if you don't have this, in the meantime, here are some tips to make your fruits and vegetables last longer. All right. So, but one of the things that I want to tell you about is, yes, I can give a good 5, maybe even 10-minute demonstration on a Fridge Smart, but I can also do a 60-second demonstration on Fridge Smart that does just as much good. All right. And I'm going to show you that. So when I pick up a Fridge Smart and I'm on a live, I'm like, oh, so these are our Fridge Smarts. They're designed to make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. And I say, and I'm going to tell you all that you need to know to make them work. So when you get home from the store, you find whatever fruit or vegetable you just brought home. And let's just say you brought home carrots. So there are the carrots right there. And then you go to the top of the chart and you see that little dot there at the top of the chart. It's all colored in, right? So then on the very top here, see this little white thing? It slides back and forth. That's the vent, all right? Beside there, sometimes the camera doesn't like to pick it up, but beside there are coordinating dots. There they are. You see the coordinating dots? So I want to just line this up to the dot that coordinates with this dot. And then all I got to do is dump my carrots right inside of here. And that's it. Now my fruits and vegetables are going, now my carrots are going to last 3 to 4 times longer just because I did that. Now, the big thing you have to remember is it's always bare in Tupperware. So you have to make sure to dump those carrots in here out of the bag or whatever you brought them home from the store. And that's all you got to do. That's like 30 to 60 seconds extra work to make your fruits and vegetables last 3 to 4 times longer. That's the demonstration. That's it. That's all I do, right? And so that tells them, explains to them how it works. I don't have to go into all of the different things about it, but it gives them the gist of it, tells them what they have to do to make it work, and explains all of that. But then I go on and I'll be like, now this size in particular, you can put your mushrooms in, you can put your baby carrots, your Persian cucumbers, you can put your fresh herbs, you can put all your berries and blah, 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 blah. And then I show the other sizes that I have and just tell them what they could put in there, right? So then after I do that, then I say, and in the meantime, until you have these in your kitchen, I'm going to give you a couple tips and ideas to make your fruits and vegetables last longer. And then I give them a couple ideas outside of here. And I say, now these tips and ideas work with these, but they also work if you don't have these. Now, some of the in there, you want to keep your fruits and vegetables dry, naked, and dirty, right? So you want to keep them dry. They don't have to be bone dry. You don't have to like spread them out all over your house and let them dry for hours on end. You just want to make sure they don't have an excess amount of water. You want to keep them naked. You want to get them out of the wrapper that they came from the store in because they emit gases, right? So if they're in a bag, then they're going to end up, that's going to keep those gases from getting out. It's going to trap those gases in there. So you want to get them out of that bag. And then you want to keep them dirty. You want to try not to wash them until you're ready to use them. All right. So just by doing those things, that will make them last longer, even if you're putting them in the drawer in your refrigerator. But by putting them in here, they're going to last even longer. And then I tell them also, if you try not to process them until you're about to use them, and then if you can keep the root intact, that will make them last longer. So I give them little tips like that so they can still experience like things lasting longer, right? So another one that I always make sure to give tips on are our microwavable things. So I talked to them about our microwavable products, but then afterwards I talked to them about, the big thing with our microwavable products. I love the Crystal Wave. Okay. So I talk about the Crystal Wave a lot. So I talk about the Crystal Wave, and you need to take your power down to 50 to 70% power, because full power in the microwave is actually recooking your food, not reheating your food. And you want to reheat your food, not recook your food, right? So full percent in the power in the microwave is actually like 450 in the oven. You would never reheat your food in the oven at 450. You'd be roasting it, right? You don't do that. That's what you're doing in the microwave, right? So you want to take your power in your microwave down to 70% to 50% power, right? So to do that, you're going to have to Google it, because every microwave is a little bit different. I would love to tell you how to do it, but just look up the maker model of your microwave and how to take the power level down, right? So some of them, you take the power level down before you put the time in, and then some of you put the time in first, then take the power level down. That's why I can't tell you exactly how to do it. You got to look it up based on the type of microwave that you have. Now, that being said, even if you don't have these, right? Even if you don't have these, just by taking the power level down on your microwave, it is going to be a game changer for you. If you've never done that, your leftovers are going to be so much better. And when people tell me they don't like leftovers, I'm always like, you might be doing it wrong. But you never want to tell people they're doing something wrong, right? And so I'm like, but I don't say that, but I think to myself, I'm like, you might be doing it wrong. And so, but the other thing with our microwavable products is this part right here, right? So the vent steams, right? It causes a steaming action, which doesn't dry out your food. Okay. So that's another part of the magic of our microwavable products. So I tell people, right? So I tell people, I'm like, now, until you get a chance to get any of our microwavable products that have the vents, right? And all that stuff. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to take the power level down on your microwave, and that's going to help you a lot. And I want you to try that and then come back and tell me about it. The other thing I want you to do is to try and it's going to kind of emulate the steaming, is take a microwavable napkin, or not napkin, a paper towel, microwavable paper towel, and wet it and wring it out as much as you can, and drape that over your food, and then put it into the microwave. And when you do that, that will cause a little bit of that steaming action. Not as great as it is in here, of course, but it will help keep some of the moisture in your food. And I want you to try that, and then come back and tell me about it, and tell me what a difference that made for your leftovers. All right. But you can try that in the meantime until you get a chance to get some of our microwavable products. And I think it'll make a huge difference for you. Right. So those are things and tips and ideas that I give to people to help them kind of like, and because then they're like, wow, I'm going to try that. And if it works, then they're going to be like, oh my gosh, that was a really great tip. I really trust this person. And then they're going to want to come back and buy things from me because they trust me, because the tips I gave actually worked, or just the fact that I was giving them tips based on products that they didn't have yet, right? So and tips that they could use even with or without the product. So so anytime you can give any sort of a tip that they can do. And it's funny because the other tip that it's honestly, if I start talking about this on my lives, there are regulars that are like, tell the bacon tip. And it just cracks me up. And they're like, did you tell the bacon tip yet? Did I miss it? And I'm like, oh my gosh, you guys are cracking me up. So I'll tell you guys a bacon tip because it's my most requested tip. And this tip, I'm sure I heard from Pam Clift or somebody else demonstrating at a rally. And so when people ask me if we have a bacon keeper, I say, no, we don't have like the bacon keeper, but this is what I recommend, is use this right here. And so the bacon tip is, if you want to freeze your bacon, you can freeze it right in here. It's our freezer container. So not all plastics are created equal, even in Tupperware. And this one is designed for the freezer. Look how flexible it is. It's so amazing. If you guys don't have freezer mates, you have to get them because they're like amazing. So it's super flexible. So here's what you do with your bacon. So when you have your bacon, and I even have, so this is what I use in on my lives. I took it off of my table down there. So I always used to like throw it away, and then I'd have to make a new one each live. And I was like, why are you doing this? Just use the same one. So this is a Post-it note that I ripped it in half. Okay. So I'm like, you take your bacon, right? So this is your piece of bacon, and all you do is you just roll it up. So this is your piece of bacon. Roll up your individual piece of bacon just like this. You're going to roll it up, and then it's going to be like a pinwheel, right? So it's going to be like a pinwheel, and then you're going to put it into your container like this, and you're going to like and you're going to just line up all your little pinwheels of bacon right in here, right? And then you can freeze this. So then you have your frozen bacon in here, and then when you want 1 or 2, maybe 4 slices of bacon, you take them out of here frozen, right? You just take them right out. Now, don't try and unroll it because you're going to end up with bacon bits, all right? So don't do that. But then this is your hot fry pan, all right? So you have your hot fry pan. Now you take your little bacon, your roll of bacon, and you put it down like this, right? Where's my camera? You put it down like this. And then when it warms up, it naturally like unrolls itself. It's the craziest thing. And then you can just fry up your piece of bacon, and then your bacon will never go bad again. And the funny thing is, I probably heard that tip like the first year I was in the business, right? And so for those of you that don't know, my dad passed away about 6 months after I started in the business. And so I heard that tip probably the first year I was in the business. And so like, I don't know, maybe a year or 2 after my dad passed away, in a conversation with my mom, which she was just kind of sharing like some of the unexpected things that, you know, she's experiencing since my dad passed away. And she goes, you know what I really miss? And I said, what? And she said, bacon. I said, why do you miss bacon? What, you're not eating bacon now that dad died? And she's like, no, but I mean, I don't, it always goes bad. I only want like 1 or 2 pieces of bacon, and I really love a BLT every now and again, but it's only every now and again. And I'm not eating bacon every week. It ends up going bad before I get to it. And I said, oh, I have an idea. I heard this tip. You can roll your bacon and then you can take it out individually. And she was like, oh, I might have to try that. So it was like, I don't know, months later. And she's like, Ellen, I love the bacon tip because I can now have BLTs and I can have bacon and eggs sometimes. And it's so wonderful to be able to do that since it's just me. And it was just like such a wonderful thing. So everybody goes nuts for the bacon tip. So if you go live definitely share that tip because they will start requesting it if you have regulars that watch you. So anyway, so those are some of the things like that you want to try and incorporate into your lives, your demonstrations, your short little video clips that you can turn into reels and things like that. People absolutely love them. So good luck with all of your live selling and your demonstrations and all of that good stuff. So is Pam back?